Hello everyone and welcome back to Rajput, Jain and Associate. In this video, we will discuss about section 12A and ATG registration procedure. So first, we will begin with the meaning of ATG registration. ATG registration under the Income Tax Act 1961 provides the benefits to the donor of a NGO or a charitable trust or a Section 8 company. Under this, the donor gets the financial benefit in his taxable amount of their income. The Income Tax Department is the issuing authority of the ATG registration certificate, and the same is issued to the non-governmental organization, a charitable trust or a Section 8 company. So, these ATG certificate tends to provide support to such non-government organization for getting additional amount of money in the form of donation. Thus, by donating money to such organization, the donor will receive the tax rebate on the amount donated to the such organization, as the same would be eligible for the deduction under ATG of Income Tax Act 1961. Next, we come to the benefits of registration under Section ATG. So, by registering under Section ATG, the following benefits can be availed, like the donor can avail the amount of donation as deduction from their taxable income. Also, the donors would be attracted to make such donations to NGOs and other charitable organizations. Apart from this, getting an ATG registration would also facilitate in seeking foreign contribution. It is also seen that NGOs with both 12A and ATG registrations are eligible for government funding as well. Lastly, as a society by law, ATG registration gives your NGO a promising prospect, enhancing its goodwill and the confidence of those associated with your brand. Next, we will discuss about the eligibility process for obtaining ATG registration. So firstly, the donations should be made to a charitable organization for undertaking the activities that are prescribed under the category ATG. Also, the charitable organization shall be duly registered in India and must have obtained the requisite registration. Now let's have a look at the documents required for ATG registration. So first of all, the MOA and the registration certificate would be required in case of Section 8 companies and societies, and a trust deed in case of a trust. After this, a no objection certificate would be required from the owner of the property wherein the registered office of the said entity is situated. Next is a copy of the PAN card of the entity would be required. Then the copy of utility bills such as electricity bill, water bill or house tax receipts be produced. However, the same shall not be older than 6 months. Then a list of the donors along with their address and PAN card would be required. Next is the documents related to income tax return and the books of accounts for the past 3 years from the date of filing of application. Then is the list of the welfare activities that have been carried out by the entity and their progress report of the last 3 years. Now, having discussed about the prerequisites and the documents required for ATG registration, we now come on to the ATG registration process. First of all, the applicant would be required to create an account on the income tax portal. After creating the login, the applicant will have to search for Form 10A under the File Income Tax Form tab. After selecting Form 10A, the applicant will have to fill in the required information and then have to upload the documents which we have already discussed above. After completing the form, the applicant would be required to verify the form using Aadhaar OTP or through digital signature certificate. Once the application is successfully verified, the same will be forwarded to the Income Tax Department for verification and scrutinizing purpose. If the application is found to be in order, the Income Tax Department will serve an order granting such registration under the login of the applicant. Now, next we come on to the 12A registration. So 12A registration basically provides an exemption to the charitable organization from the income earned by them by way of charitable activities. Thus, this income tax exemption is available to all non-profit and non-governmental organizations. Next, we come to the benefits of registration under Section 12A. Firstly, the income of the entity from the charitable activities would be exempted from taxation. Then, an organization registered under Section 12A becomes eligible to receive grant from government, abroad and from various other private sectors. Next, the benefit under FCRA registration is also available to 12A registered entity. Now, let's have a look at the documents required for 12A registration. So first of all, the incorporation document of the trust or NGO would be required. So in case of trust, it would be a trust deed, and in case of society or NGO, it would be the registration certificate and the MOA of the said entity. After this comes the bank account statement of the entity that would be required for the past 3 years. Next, the PAN card of the applicant entity would be required. And lastly, where the applicant entity has been in existence for a period of more than 3 years, then their last 3 years audited financial statements would be required. Now, having discussed about the benefits and the documents required for 12A registration, we now come to 12A registration process. So basically, 12A registration process is a one-time registration process. Under this, the applicant would be required to log in into the income tax portal. After this, they need to look for the Form 10A under the File Income Tax Form tab. Under this form, the applicant shall select the section of filing as Section 12A. Then the applicant would be required to fill in the requisite details and upload the supporting documents which we have already discussed above. Once the application form is completed, the applicant will have to verify the same using Aadhaar OTP or the digital signature certificate. After successful verification and submission of form, the same will be forwarded to the Income Tax Department for scrutinization purpose. Where the application and the documents are found to be in order, the department will issue an order for the same under Form 10 AC, and the same shall be visible under the login of the applicant. Now we finally come to some of the frequently asked questions. First is how to obtain 12A registration certificate. So for this, the applicant will have to fill in an application in Form 10A and shall submit the said application along with the supporting documents. After successful verification of the application and documents by the Income Tax Department, they will issue the 12A registration certificate under Form 10AC. Next one is what is 12A and ATG registration. So basically, ATG registration comes under Section ATG of the Income Tax Act 1961 and provides benefits to the donor. On the other hand, Section 12A registration provides assistance to the charitable entity to get exemption on their income. Then, who can apply for an ATG certificate? A non-profit organization or non-governmental organization, a charitable trust or a Section 8 company can apply for ATG registration and can also obtain certification under Section 12A. Then lastly, how can one apply for Section ATG and 12A registration online? So the application for registration under Section ATG and Section 12A can be made by an applicant by visiting the official website of the Income Tax Department. So this was all about Section ATG and 12A registration procedure. For any query, contact Rajput, Jain and Associates. Thank you.